Every person has within them a spark of greatness waiting to be unleashed. But too often, we settle for being a second choice or an afterthought in our own lives. Today, we're going to explore how to shift from being an option to becoming a priority, because your life's impact depends on you standing in your true value and refusing to be anything less than first. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, do I truly understand my value? Not just the surface level worth others assign to you, but the deep, unshakable truth of who you are. Many people go through life unaware of their intrinsic value, allowing themselves to be treated like a mere option, a fallback, or something disposable. But here's the truth. Your value is not determined by others' opinions, circumstances, or fleeting moments. Your value is fixed, and once you grasp that, your entire life begins to shift. When you understand your value, you begin to see yourself differently. You no longer accept the scraps of attention or the leftovers of time that others might offer. You realize that you deserve to be first, not because you are selfish, but because you are designed to lead your own life with intentionality and purpose. Being a priority means recognizing that your goals, dreams, and well-being must come before distractions and misaligned demands. But how do you start this journey of truly valuing yourself? It begins with the mindset you adopt. The world tries to convince you that being available to everyone at every moment is a virtue. But in reality, being all things to all people often means being nothing to yourself. When you understand your value, you start setting boundaries, not as a way to shut others out, but as a way to protect your energy, your time, and your vision. Now, understanding your value isn't just about personal pride. It's about unlocking the potential that has been dormant because you never put yourself first. When you put yourself first, you don't become selfish. You become intentional, and with intention, doors open, opportunities appear, and your life begins to align with your true purpose. But here's the question: how do you break free from the chains of being treated as an option? How do you develop the courage to refuse second place in your own life? That's where the next step comes in, the power of self-worth. Because once you know your value, the real transformation starts. And it's a journey that demands boldness, clarity, and unshakable belief. So get ready to dive deeper, because what's coming next will challenge everything you thought about how you should be treated, and show you exactly how to claim the respect you deserve. What does it truly mean to have self-worth? Is it just a feeling that comes and goes, or is it something deeper, something that shapes every decision you make, every boundary you set, and every relationship you allow into your life? Self-worth is the powerful belief that you are enough, just as you are, and that you deserve to be treated with dignity, respect, and priority. Without this belief, it's almost impossible to stand firm against the pressures that try to reduce you to an option. Many people confuse self-worth with arrogance or selfishness. They think that valuing themselves means putting others down or demanding more than they deserve. But that's a lie. Real self-worth is quiet confidence. It's the inner voice that says, I am important. I am worthy. I will not settle for less. When you hold on to that truth, you begin to attract people, opportunities, and circumstances that reflect your value back to you. You stop chasing approval because you already approve of yourself. But what happens when your self-worth is shaken? When you don't believe in your own value, you become vulnerable to manipulation, neglect, and disappointment. You might find yourself constantly trying to please others, afraid to say no, or accepting less than you deserve because you think that's all you're worth. This cycle keeps you trapped in a life where you're never truly seen or prioritized. The good news is, self-worth can be rebuilt, strengthened, and cultivated. It starts with recognizing the stories you tell yourself about who you are. Are those stories lifting you up or tearing you down? Changing your story is the first step to changing your life. When you claim your self-worth, you begin to make choices that reflect your value. You say no to toxic relationships. You pursue your dreams unapologetically, and you guard your time like a treasure. But here's the challenge. How do you translate self-worth into daily actions that change your life? How do you live it out consistently, especially when the world tries to pull you back into old patterns? That's where the next truth comes in, living with purpose, because self-worth without purpose is like a ship without a destination, drifting aimlessly. So get ready, because what's next will unlock the secret to moving from just believing in yourself to actually living the life you were meant to lead. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to move through life with clarity and unstoppable energy, while others drift aimlessly, reacting to whatever comes their way? The difference is purpose. Living with purpose means waking up every day knowing exactly why you are here, what you are meant to do, and who you are meant to become. Without purpose, even the strongest self-worth can lose direction, and your value can be wasted on distractions and unfulfilling pursuits. Purpose is not some vague idea or distant dream. It's the fuel that ignites your passion, the compass that guides your decisions, and the foundation upon which your life is built. When you live with purpose, you automatically become a priority, not just to yourself, but to everyone around you, because you are aligned with your true potential. You stop living to please others and start living to fulfill your own unique destiny. But finding purpose is not always. It requires deep reflection, courage to face your fears, and the willingness to let go of what's comfortable but no longer serves you. It means asking hard questions like, what am I passionate about? What gifts do I have that the world needs? How can I make a difference? When you answer these questions honestly, you begin to carve out a path that no one can take away from you. Living with purpose also means you are intentional about where you put your energy. No more drifting through life reacting to circumstances, hoping for something better. You begin to prioritize your time, your relationships, and your goals around what truly matters to you. This intentionality is what separates those who live as an option in someone else's life from those who become the priority in their own. But once you discover your purpose, how do you keep it alive in the face of distractions, doubts, and setbacks? How do you ensure that your purpose doesn't become just another abandoned dream? That's where the power of a priority mindset comes in, the ability to demand respect, recognition, and space for your dreams to grow. Get ready, because the next step will reveal how to develop this mindset and transform your purpose into a living reality that commands attention and respect. What does it mean to have a priority mindset? Is it simply about wanting to be first, or is it something much deeper, something that reshapes how you see yourself and how the world sees you? A priority mindset is a declaration. It's a refusal to be treated as an afterthought, a commitment to living life on your terms, and a demand for the respect that comes with knowing your true worth. Too many people wander through life hoping others will notice them, hoping they'll be valued without speaking up for themselves. But the truth is, respect and recognition don't come to those who wait quietly in the background. They come to those who know their value and insist the world recognizes it. This mindset isn't about arrogance or entitlement. It's about clarity and conviction. It's about standing firm in your place as a leader of your own story. Developing this mindset means you begin to see everything through a new lens. You start asking powerful questions like, am I giving my time to things that honor my purpose? Am I surrounding myself with people who uplift? Am I protecting my energy from distractions and negativity? When the answer is no, you learn to say no without guilt, without hesitation, because saying no is one of the greatest acts of self-respect. With a priority mindset, you also recognize that your time is one of your most valuable assets. You guard it fiercely, knowing that once lost, it cannot be reclaimed. You stop settling for meetings, conversations, or commitments that don't move you closer to your vision. Instead, you align every action with your goals, ensuring your life is a reflection of your highest priorities. But here's the challenge. How do you maintain this mindset when the world pushes, when people try to pull you into old patterns of being overlooked, or when doubt creeps in and tries to convince you to settle? This is where the next step comes in, rewriting your life's narrative. Because to truly become a priority, you must first change the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve. So stay with me because what comes next will show you how to take control of your story and move from background noise to center stage in your own life. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get stuck playing a role that others have written for you? Maybe you've lived your life as a supporting character in someone else's story, quietly accepting the parts that were handed to you, always in the background, never in the spotlight. But here's the reality. Your life is your story, and you have the power to rewrite the script anytime you choose. Rewriting your life's narrative means refusing to accept the limitations imposed by past failures, negative labels, or the expectations of others. It means recognizing that the story you've been telling yourself, the one that says, "I'm not enough," or "I'm always the second choice," is not the truth. It's simply a story, and stories can be changed. The moment you decide to take control of your narrative, you begin to shift your identity from an option to a priority. This transformation requires courage, because rewriting your story often means breaking free from comfort zones and confronting fears you've carried for years. It means deciding that your past does not define your future, and that every setback, every disappointment is just a chapter, not the whole book. You begin to replace old limiting beliefs with new, empowering ones that align with who you truly are and who you are becoming. When you rewrite your narrative, you also change how you show up in the world. You start to speak differently about yourself, make different choices, and surround yourself with people who believe in your new story. This is the power of intentional living, when your life becomes a conscious expression of your highest vision, not a reaction to circumstances. But rewriting your story isn't just about mindset, it's about action. It's about walking out your new identity every day, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. It's about stepping into the spotlight you were born to occupy and refusing to settle for anything less. Now here's the question. Once you've rewritten your story, how do you protect this new version of yourself? How do you keep your time, energy, and focus aligned with this vision, especially when distractions and demands come knocking? That's where the next step comes in, setting boundaries, the vital practice that guards your priority status. So stay tuned, because what's coming next will teach you how to build strong walls around your purpose, ensuring nothing steals your focus or diminishes your value. Have you ever felt drained, overwhelmed, or pulled in every direction, yet struggled to say no? Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful yet overlooked tools you can use to protect your time, energy, and sense of self. Boundaries are not walls to shut people out, they are fences that guard the space where your priorities live, the space where your dreams grow, and the space where your life transforms from ordinary to extraordinary. When you don't set boundaries, you become everyone's option, the person who is always available, always accommodating, but rarely honored or prioritized. Without boundaries, your time is eaten up by distractions, demands, and obligations that don't serve your purpose. And slowly but surely, your value diminishes in your own eyes, because you have allowed others to dictate how your life should be lived. Setting boundaries requires clarity about what you will accept and what you won't. It means learning to say no, not just with words, but with your actions. Saying no to people who drain your energy, no to commitments that don't align with your goals, and no to anything that distracts you from your purpose. This isn't selfishness, it's self-respect. It's a declaration that your life matters enough to protect. But boundaries go beyond just saying no. They involve communicating your limits clearly and consistently, so others know where you stand. They require the courage to stand firm, even when pressure comes to break them down. Because here's the truth. When you begin to protect your time and energy, some people won't like it. Some will try to test your limits, or make you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself. But remember, you are not responsible for their discomfort. You are responsible for your own growth. Now, once you've set these boundaries, the question becomes, how do you keep the courage to maintain them, especially when old habits and external pressures threaten to pull you back? How do you guard your priority status every day? The answer lies in the next step, the courage to say no, boldly and unapologetically. So get ready, because what's next will empower you to defend your life and your dreams like never before, ensuring you remain a priority, not an option. To turn down requests, invitations, or demands that pull you away from what truly matters. Saying no is one of the hardest, yet most powerful acts you can learn. It's the frontline defense of your priority status, the clear signal that you value your time, your energy, and your purpose more than fleeting approval or temporary comfort. Many people avoid saying no because they fear rejection, conflict, or disappointing others. They think saying yes is the path to acceptance, love, or success. But here's the truth: when you say yes to everything and everyone, you say no to yourself. You give away your power, your focus, and your ability to create the life you desire. Saying no isn't rude or selfish, it's necessary for your survival and growth. The courage to say no means standing firm in your boundaries, even when it feels uncomfortable. It means understanding that every no you give is a yes to something greater: your dreams, your well-being, your purpose. Saying no allows you to protect your time and energy from being drained by distractions, toxic relationships, or activities that don't align with your vision. But learning to say no also requires clarity. You must know what you value most, so you can make intentional choices about where you invest your life. When your no is rooted in your priorities, it becomes easier to say because you're not just rejecting others, you're affirming yourself. This clarity creates confidence, and confidence commands respect. Yet here's the challenge: how do you say no without feeling guilty? How do you overcome the fear of missing out or disappointing others? And more importantly, how do you keep saying no consistently, day after day, so that your life stays aligned with your highest vision? That's where the next and final truth comes in: unlocking your potential by choosing yourself first. So stay with me, because what's coming next will reveal the ultimate key to transforming your life, by embracing the power of prioritizing yourself, without apology, without hesitation. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your time, and your energy, choosing yourself is the most radical and life-changing decision you can make. It's the moment you declare that your dreams, your well-being, and your growth are not negotiable. When you choose yourself first, you unlock a power within that transforms everything: your mindset, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. Choosing yourself first is not about selfishness or neglecting others. It's about recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You must prioritize your own health, your goals, and your happiness before you can genuinely give your best to the world around you. This is the foundation of living as a priority, not an option. When you embrace this truth, you begin to create a life where your purpose is front and center, and where your potential is no longer hidden by doubt or distraction. But how do you consistently choose yourself, especially when the pressures to conform, to please, or to stay small feel so strong? It starts with commitment. Commitment to your vision, your values, and your boundaries. It means saying no to what doesn't serve you, and yes to the opportunities that fuel your growth. It means waking up each day with the determination to honor your worth, regardless of what others think or say. Choosing yourself first also means embracing your potential with boldness. Your potential is waiting on the other side of fear, hesitation, and self-doubt. When you choose yourself, you step into that potential and begin to live the extraordinary life you were designed to live. You become unstoppable because your priority status is no longer dependent on anyone else. It comes from within. So now ask yourself, are you ready to make the choice, to rise above being an option, and live fully as the priority you were meant to be? The journey won't always be easy, but the reward is nothing less than your true life unfolding. Remember, your life is your message to the world. Choose to make it powerful. Choose to make it yours. Choose you first. And all